Hey, what's up guys, Ansh Sharma here. So today I came up with another video on my channel Little Guru. So now today in this video I'm going to cover Science chapter 1 of class 7th, Nutrition in Plants. So it's a very interesting chapter. We're going to learn a lot of new things. Also, it's a very important chapter of class 7. And as we all know that our exams are near, so they include this chapter. So I thought that I should create video on this so that it would be helpful for you guys. So now in this slide we are going to talk about nutrition. Now as we all know that everyone needs food and plants also need food. So in the food which the plant takes, it is having nutrients, and it helps in fulfilling its nutritional requirements. So the utilization of nutrients by a plant for fulfilling its nutritional requirements is called nutrition. So you see this word nutritional requirements. So the plant is having some nutritional requirements. So for fulfilling that, it takes in the food, and uh, the utilization of the nutrients is known as nutrition. So we have learnt about nutrition. Now let's see how a plant can take the nutrition. So there are two modes. The first is autotrophic. The second is heterotrophic. So the you can see this first one, autotrophic, and then you see this auto written over there. This. So what does it means? Auto means self, and it means like it the plant create foods on its own. And remember, the food is created in the leaves of the plant, and also the leaves should be green in color. They should have the green pigment. So when the plant create foods on its own, when the green plant leaves of the plant make food on their own, so this plant is known as the autotrophic plant. But some plants are not having that green pigment called chlorophyll, so they have to get food from some other organism, either from plant or from any other organism like animal also. So this kind of mode is known as heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So now in this slide we will be looking at photosynthesis. So now I think that you all guys are familiar with this term. I think you would have been learned this term in your previous classes also. So now what is exactly photosynthesis? The making of food by a plant on its own is called photosynthesis, and the plant should be autotrophic, and this process undergoes inside the leaf of a plant. Remember, the leaf should be green, and it undergoes in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll. It takes in carbon dioxide and water and produces glucose and oxygen, and then the oxygen is produced outside. It is just produced outside in the atmosphere. So this oxygen is just given out in the atmosphere, so that all the other organisms like humans also can breathe, uh, so that they can survive. Again I can repeat that plants take in carbon dioxide and water in the presence of sunlight and chlorophyll inside it. Then all this process is known as photosynthesis. This undergoes in these requirements only, which I have just repeated. Previously we have learned about the autotrophic and heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Now I'm going to tell you about the different kind of plants which are heterotrophic, which are using the heterotrophic mode of nutrition in this slide. Now the first one is saprophytic plants, second is parasitic plants, third is insectivorous plants, and the fourth is symbiotic plants. We are going to learn about each and every kind of plant in depth in the later slides. So in this slide I am going to tell you about saprophytic plants. What are they exactly? We are going to learn in this slide only. So now saprophytic plants, as you can see the definition on the screen, that they feed on the dead and decaying matters. So now you can see also an image, and that image is of mushroom. You would have heard the word mushroom. So it's a saprophytic plant. It is saprophyte as it feeds on dead and decaying matters, and mushroom is a example of saprophytic plant. You can remember this if in the exam they can put a question of 1 mark that example of saprophytic, then you can use this one. Now we are going to learn about the parasitic plants and parasitic mode of nutrition. So this mode is used by the heterotrophs, and in this mode the plant is fulfilling its nutritional requirements from another plant, and it can fulfill all or a part of it from the another plant, and that plant is known as the host. And the example is like Indian pipe, and also there is an example molds. Now we are going to learn about insectivorous plants. So it's heterotrophic. It's a kind of heterotrophic plant. So we are going to learn what are exactly insectivorous plants. So these kinds of plants are grown in the areas which are the soil is deficient in nitrogen. So in those areas these kinds of plants are grown. So for fulfilling their requirement of nitrogen, they have to uh, eat the my organism and suck the nitrogen from them so that they can fulfill their requirement of nitrogen. The example is Venus flytrap. What does it exactly does do is like it holds the organism in its mouth and just suck and secrete a juice on its body and sucks it back, and by doing this it is just fulfilling its requirement of nitrogen. So now in this slide we are going to learn about symbiotic plants. So now symbiotic plants, or the process of symbiosis, is when two plants live closely together in harmony of one kind or another. And the word symbiosis comes from the Greek word which means with and living. They describe a relationship between two species or organisms, we can say, that can be beneficial for both parties. Like there is an example, we can take that of lichen, and there is fungi. So now we are going to differentiate between the autotrophic and heterotrophic plants. So now then focusing on the autotrophic, so it occurs only in the green plants. The leaf should have the green pigment. And in the heterotrophic it occurs in all the non-green plants. It just undergoes in all the non-green plants and animals. And carbon dioxide and water are required for the synthesis of food in the autotrophs. And in the heterotrophic mode of nutrition, heterotrophs derive their food from green plant, or we can say autotrophs. It is indirectly or directly. And the chlorophyll and sunlight are essential for synthesis of food in the autotrophs. But in the heterotrophs, chlorophyll is absent and sunlight is just not required. So these were some differences between the autotrophs and the heterotrophs. So now I think that this chapter is clear.